Now we've got our guest speaker, Kimmie Brooke. I'm so excited she's here. How many of you guys have read her book, 4-Year Career for Women? Yes. I'm sending this out to my new business people. Like, I don't have that many people that start wanting to do the business, but if they are like ready, I just give them that book and some other resources. But I met Kimmie, I think at Diamond Retreat last year, right? And then we've got to work together a little bit on another little side project, and she messaged me after a video that I did, and then we just got to chatting, and I was like, I would love to have you come and to my team. And
Watch our movie, and I can watch this later.
okay, I'm gonna mute people. Sorry. Oh, no, I don't want to mute Kimmie. Can I just mute you? Okay. There's somebody that's got their thing not muted. That's wow. Okay. Can I get it? No. Okay. And then unmute Kimmie. Okay. All right. So she is a Young Living Diamond. I'm super excited. She believes in the power of this business and teaching people the full menu versus just products. And so she's just got a lot to share and a lot for us to learn about, and different ways to just share about the business and talk about Young Living and why this business is so awesome. So take it away. Thanks, Kimmie.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you guys. Happy June. Gosh, you know, Carol, you said something interesting that kind of catches me by surprise. And it's actually one of the reasons why we join Young Living is the statement that you said, which was not many people join my team ready to build a business. And that's like a phenomenon to us, to Richard and myself. So I'll just kind of tell you guys a little bit about me in case you don't know who I am. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. I've been building in network marketing full-time for 10 years. I am from Honolulu, Hawaii, and I'm 51, going through that time of life. And at 40, I found myself newly divorced, and I found myself financially responsible for my daughter as a single parent. I found myself totally strapped financially and like not knowing where the next month's rent was going to come from. I had a job, I had a great job. I was working 60 to 70 hours a week at her school as a fundraiser. But the challenge with living in Hawaii is the cost of living does not measure up to the pay. And so one of the awesome things about my job is my daughter got to go to school at one of the best private schools in the nation. And so that was a huge chunk of income that was missing. You know, they kind of use that as leverage. So I, all of a sudden at 40, was looking at moving in with my mom. And I love my mom. And the idea of moving in with her was not very exciting for me. It was actually really depressing. I felt like my life was slipping back instead of up. And I wasn't even in a place like energetically to think, oh, I need to do more, because I didn't feel like I had any more room in my life to put more in, right? Like I was working 60 to 70 hours a week. By the weekend, I was exhausted, and I was a super grouchy mom. And, you know, those are times from my life with my daughter that I just will never get back, right? Like I lost out on a lot of quality time with her. Luckily, my sister, in the midst of this craziness of my life, she got involved in network marketing, and she and her sister-in-law invited me to take a look. And I thought, oh, good for them. Can you guys relate to that? Like, oh, they're doing that. Oh, good for them. I'm not interested. Like, I don't know a whole lot of people that wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go out and find myself a network marketing company to join. There are those rare exceptions. So if you're on here and you're one of those people who's like, oh yeah, I'm one of the ones who is like, I want to find a great network marketing company, congratulations. But most people don't do that. And so what happened is a couple really important things happened for me that totally shaped the way I've built in network marketing for 10 years. The first thing that happened is I was given a sample of product. And I wouldn't have been able to afford the product that my sister and her sister-in-law were representing because I didn't have any income, but I was given a bag of product. And because I was given a bag of product, I used the product and I had profound results within a very short time period. And so all of a sudden, I started having the like what ifs, right? So first what if was, oh my gosh, what if I could make $200 a month doing this? Excuse me, $500 a month doing this. If I could make an extra $500 a month, my rent was $2,000. Excuse me, you guys, I'm sleep deprived because of my puppy. You might have hopped on late. My rent was $2,500 a month. My income was $2,000 a month. So I was $500 short just in rent every month. Okay. So I thought if I could make an extra $500 a month, that would be like the start of me seeing a light at the end of my tunnel. And so that was the first what if. The next what if was, what if on the weekends I was actually a little bit happier? What if I was like nice mom instead of grouchy, cranky mom? Then I had the, what if I could take my daughter on a vacation instead of me having to find a camp, a program for her to go to while I was still at work? So those what ifs started to churn for me in literally like a week's time. And all of a sudden I was like, okay, you know what? I want to do this. I hadn't seen a presentation. I didn't know what it was I was saying I wanted to do. I just called my sister and I said, I think I really am excited to do this. Like I need to do something different. If I want to have different results for my daughter, I need to do something different. And she was like, really? She lived in Colorado. So she was like, really? Okay. And so the first great clue was she gave me a sample. I don't know how many of you guys sample. I don't do a ton of sampling in Young Living, to be honest. So I'll kind of move into my Young Living story in a moment. But so she gave me a sample. So that's kind of how I started building in my business, was giving samples of my product. But the next thing that she did was the best thing. The next thing she did was she went on a trip to Europe and she connected me with the top earner in the company. And because she went away, I got to work directly with the top earner, the top leader in our company, and I got to get mentored. And so he told me a list of things. Back in those days, it was like before Facebook. It was right when Facebook was starting, you guys. That's how long ago. And so he gave me a 3-page email, and we called it our Getting Started email. And in that 3-page email, there were all of these things for me to do. And so I feel really lucky that in my life, I've been an athlete and I've always had a coach. So I'm like, when a coach tells me to do something, I'm like, okay, whatever you tell me, coach. I didn't question it. I didn't say that sounds silly. I just did what he told me to do. And one of the things he told me to do was read a book called Beach Money. So I got this book, Beach Money by Jordan Adler, fabulous book. And in that book, it talked about how he went and had, I think he went and had a coffee every day. So that's where I was like, oh my gosh, I have my lunch break. So on my lunch break is where I decided I was going to build my business. I decided that I could take that hour every day, 5 days a week, go to a spot, have lunch with a friend, and invite them to take a look at what I was doing. And that's exactly what I did, you guys. So the two things that were really great for me is I learned about this idea of sharing product, and I learned about this idea of actually meeting with somebody every day consistently and casting a vision about the full menu. Like she just mentioned, I believe in casting a vision about the full menu, not just about the products, not just about the business, about both, and then letting my friend decide for me. So that 3-month period of meeting with somebody every single day on my lunch break absolutely catapulted my business. People say, well, how did you find enough people? And you know what? I just did. Every day, the day before, I would set an appointment for the next day. And for 3 solid months, I met with somebody new. And I talked about what we were going to be doing. And so many a day, I had a new business partner join me. And so that momentum of just like people every day for 3 months, within a 3-month time period, I was actually able to quit my full-time job and move into network marketing full-time. Now, people in Hawaii thought I was insane, right? Because I was in education. And they're like, you're doing what? You're leaving this amazing, stable job to be a full-time what? Yep. And so anyway, that was like the launch of my network marketing career. I stayed in that company for 4.5 years. I became the top earner of the company. And that company actually it's like every step in my career has led me to Young Living. It's amazing, really. So what happened is my company, that basically it was a young new startup company and they ran out of money. And so they had to merge. They had to sell into a larger company. And the way it was done was not very great. Literally, I woke up, it would be like us waking up tomorrow and finding out we're another company. Like, we're no longer Young Living. We are, I don't know, some insurance company, right? That's kind of what it was like for me. So I woke up the next day, top earner of this company, found out that all of a sudden we are a new network marketing company. We have hundreds of thousands of brothers and sisters all over the world. Our cultures were completely different. And I was like, what? This is not my thing. And right at that time, you guys, Richard and I had already established a coaching relationship, and we were falling in love at that same time. So it was like this crazy energy that moved me away from my very first network marketing company that I thought I'd be at for the rest of my life. And then I moved into building with Richard in a company he owned. And so for the next 4 years, I worked and built from the ground up in the company with Richard. We got married. All of a sudden, I inherited this company as a company owner. So I was a builder and an owner. So I've been on both sides of the fence. I've been able to own a network marketing company and be a builder in a network marketing company. And I can tell you that, my goodness, being a builder is way more fun, way less stress. And yeah, so how did I end up in Young Living? How did we end up in Young Living? How did my husband, Richard Brooke, who's been involved in network marketing for 40 plus years and have his own vision of creating the network marketing company where people do it right and really learn how to honor their friends and educate people who aren't educated about what it is we do? How did we end up, marrying into Young Living? And the story is phenomenal. So I believe that I went through that transition into this other company so that when we went through it to come into Young Living, we would do it the right way with our people. So basically, Richard and Adam Green, you guys all probably know Adam, they had established an awesome relationship. Richard was coaching with Adam, and Adam was really moved by this concept of the 4-year career, and he started really building with the idea of the 4-year career, so that Adam was presenting the business. He wasn't just sharing classes of oils. He was presenting the model of the 4-year career, which is basically the idea, you guys, that if for 4 years you do very part-time, a little bit, consistently, over a 4-year time period, you can build an asset that will last you for life, right? And so that's what the 4-year career, the book my husband wrote, is about. And so Adam started really teaching people about this idea, and his business went from where it was when he and Richard had met to skyrocket to Royal Crown Diamond in a fairly quick amount of time. So we kind of watched that happen, and we didn't think much of it. We were like, that's amazing. Good for you. That's so awesome. We were never like, ooh, what's going on over in Young Living? We were on our path. We owned our company. We knew where we were headed. And then because of that relationship, more and more people started getting coached by Richard. And then I started a program called 25 Days of Expansion, and a group of Young Living people hired me. So both of us were doing a lot of work with Young Living people. And we started to realize how many of you guys were having a lot of success. And we also started to realize how many people in Young Living actually did not really know a lot about the business side of network marketing, and didn't know how to explain it, and didn't feel comfortable and confident explaining it. And then we kind of dove into Adam's back office or virtual office and took a look at the numbers. And what really caught our attention, which you guys have probably heard Richard share about this, is we really got inspired by the retention rate. So, you know, in most network marketing companies, you guys, it's pretty common that you are in a major churn and burn. You have to sign up people, sign up people, sign up people, sign up people. And in the meantime, they're all falling out the back door. And when we looked at Adam's numbers, I think his retention rate was like 43% were staying on Essential Rewards who had signed up on Essential Rewards a year and possibly even 2 years previously. And that's unheard of in our industry. So Richard and I were like, okay, there is some magic sauce happening in this company. And so that was like our initial delve into like this idea of what if we realized, you guys, that our company, we like to call ourselves a boutique company. We were a small company, and we realized that it was going to take us years, if ever, to get to the position where Young Living is. I mean, Young Living is a solid pillar. It is amazing. 25 years old, you know, in so many different countries, the generosity of the compensation plan, plus the generosity of all of the goods that they give to us in rank advancements is unheard of, like unparalleled. I have never seen anything like the generosity of Young Living. So all of these little factors just kind of it all happened so quickly. It was like the universe or God or whoever you believe in just said, okay, we are putting this thing after thing after thing after thing in front of you guys. And so we finally made the decision that, you know what, we would offer our group, our team, a much better chance at getting to their 4-year career more quickly through Young Living than through our vehicle. And so we ended up here 2 years ago, and it has been the best choice that we've made. We were able to, you know, really, like, convention happened right as we joined. So we brought every single person from our team to convention. I think we had like 150, 200 people that actually just dropped everything and flew to convention to get to see Young Living. And, you know, we hustled to cast the vision and let our people buy into this amazingness of Young Living. And almost everybody moved with us here. So it's just been phenomenal, and we've never questioned our decision. We feel so fortunate and just really grateful for what this company offers, in spite of all of the things that might frustrate you guys, like yesterday's promo, right? I mean, that's like so insignificant in the big scope of things. Like, how amazing that we're in a company where a promotion sells out in 30 minutes versus nobody even goes in to order it. Like, how amazing is that, right? So, so anyway, so that's kind of my story, right? That's my story of how I got here into Young Living. And I think what I realized early on in my business, you guys, is that it's really not my decision to decide what I offer people. I believe that when we only offer someone the opportunity to take a look at the oils, that we're saying we know what's best for people. Because sometimes what we do is we make up a story that if they know it's network marketing, they're not going to be interested. And maybe that's a story you made up for yourself, right? Maybe the story for yourself is, I never would have done this if I had known, or I didn't want to do this for 8 months until I saw these great benefits and then I decided. And while that's your truth, like, imagine, I don't know for most of you, I imagine for most of you the business wasn't presented at the beginning. I don't know. But imagine if at the beginning, like with my sister, she offered me both. She talked about the business and the product, not just about the product. And because she talked about the business and the product, after the week of gestation of the what if, I knew I wanted to do both, okay? So she could have easily just shared the products, and then I would have thought, oh, I'm going to have to buy these products, and I would have been product. And instead, I got the full menu. And so I believe that offering the full menu is our responsibility. And that's why the 4-year career actually serves as a huge, valuable tool. So Carol had asked me, you know, like, why did you write the 4-year career for women? And so Richard wrote the 4-year career, and I can remember when I read it, we didn't know each other yet. I read his book, and I actually knocked off his presentation in Spanish for my team in El Salvador. I took his slides and I like did this video thingy, and I had the courage to tell him once we got together. So the thing about this book, you guys, is that this book Well, so Richard's book is amazing, but what I found for me, because I'm much more, I know all of you guys too are super into the color stuff. I don't even know what color I am. You probably have already decided what color I am, but I've never done that test, and I probably will never do that test, because I just kind of live from this place of like, we're all just people and we all dip into each of the quadrants, and that's all good for me. So anyway, his book for me, I found that while the information is fabulous, it's a lot more analytical than the way my brain works. And so I kept saying to him, hey, honey, next time, because, every time an edition runs out, he puts a new group of stories in. And so I was like, next time, would you be willing to make it like a little bit more, like feminine? And hey, I have some great ideas. Maybe you could incorporate these ideas into the book. And he kept saying, yeah. And then finally, one day, 2 or 3 years later, I woke up and I said, hey, honey, would you be okay if I wrote The 4-Year Career for Women? And he said, of course. And so he generously shared the title with me, because I decided that what I wanted to do, you guys, was to write a book that allowed you to think about, okay, where am I right now? Where am I, or where is your friend who's either a brand new member or a friend who hasn't joined you yet? Like, where are they right now financially as a woman? Because I know that at the age of 40, I showed up thinking my life was going in one direction, and all of a sudden it took a very sharp left turn, right? So my vision for women, regardless how financially set your friends are, how financially set you are with your partner, is that number one, we all have financial literacy and we actually know our financial worth. And then, so where are you right now alone? Not including everything else that comes in with your husband or your partner, but like, where do you stand alone in your finances? And what could make your life easier or better financially, and how network marketing could possibly be the vehicle to move you into that new place in your life. And so I love the fact that in this book, it's like it serves as a giant clue gatherer for us, the person who shares the stories, because I don't know if you guys have ever used this as a tool to share with people who have yet to join your business, but I got to tell you, I have like so many pages and pages and pages of people writing in saying that their friend who said they would never, ever, ever read the book and then like understood what it is we do, and because of that decided to join our profession. So what I know to be true, what my husband and I know to be true, is most people will say no to network marketing because they don't understand what it is, right? They're confused, or they think it's something that it's not, or they're scared about what people will think about them. And so when you can actually educate your friends, right, and allow them to see what this is, you open the door. And so that's what we kind of like to do, is think about every single thing we do as a green light, creating a green light, a green light, a green light, a green light, opening a door, opening a door, opening a door. So, having a class that opens a door. But when we try to explain how great and amazing the business model is, sometimes people feel like we're trying to sell them. And so sometimes it's easier to use a generic tool, a third-party tool, instead of your voice, because it's not you trying to convince. It's just letting somebody do their own research, figuring out on their own if this resonates with them. And quite frankly, I would way rather know after someone reads the book that they're a no than me getting all great at cheering them on and convincing them and having them join, and then it's not the right choice for them, right? So the thing I like about this book, you guys, is that it allows people to figure out where they are in their life and where they want to go, and if network marketing would be a fit for them. And then, of course, the 4-Year Career for Women Young Living's edition has all these amazing stories of all different women. And my goal is, as many editions as I do, to be able to feature as many leaders from Young Living as possible, because I am all about empowering women and I want to tell as many stories as possible. I got to tell you guys that the stories in the back move people, if not as much as the information in the book, maybe possibly even more. So the stories are phenomenal. So if you haven't had a chance yet to read this yourself, I encourage you to read it. And Richard and I don't go anywhere without one of these books in our hands. And it's not because we wrote the book, it's because they actually work. It works. It helps people to understand what our profession is about. And especially in Young Living, where I find that many of us, as the members here, have such a hard time talking about network marketing. you can allow the book to do that hard part for you. And then all you have to do is have a conversation afterwards of, oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to read this. And I would love to be able to look through some of the things you wrote in here, if that's okay with you. And when I tell women that I ask the question, hey, do you like to journal? I don't get a lot of, no, I hate journaling. Most women like to journal or doodle. And so I let people know that, this is the one book where you're actually allowed to write in it, go to town on it. You can get a different color pen if you want, make it fun. And what I love about this book too, you guys, is that you can use this, all of you, as a snapshot in time. So I actually reread and rewrite this for myself once, if not twice a year. And then I go back and I look at where I was 6 months ago or a year ago and how much I've grown. And so I highly encourage you guys, this is a really awesome team project to get to see where your team members are right now. And then, of course, the very last page of the book, there's something to be said about vision work, right? And writing things down and creating your story. And so the very, very, very last page of the book, you actually get to write your own 4-year career story. And so imagine writing down your story and picking your story up in a year from now and seeing how much of it has come to fruition. So those are some of my thoughts, Carol. I don't know if you want to, from there, let me see if there's any comments of anything I can add on to that. One of the things I love about this book, you guys, is that the proceeds go to the Young Living Foundation. So I just had my gal, Sarah, who helps me give me the numbers. The book, the Young Living edition's only been out, I think, not even 6 months. And so far, 145 girls who have been rescued from the human trafficking and go to Hope for Justice. 145 girls we've fed for a full month at the Hope for Justice shelter house. So I love that. And, over time, that number is just going to grow and grow. That's awesome. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any other questions for me around that? And then I might have some other things to share as well, Carol.
Yeah, it looks like Chrissy's got her hand up. Let's see if I can unmute you. All right, Chrissy, you're up.
Oh my gosh. I just wanted to say that it's so amazing that I didn't realize the proceeds from the books were helping people. I think that's great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. Now I'm going to definitely buy one.
Well, and you guys, what's really cool about that, when you share this book with somebody outside of your team, I mean, first of all, when you share this with new members, we don't just send this to every single new member on our team. What we do is we send a survey and we ask them if they would want to read it. I don't just try to frisbee these out, but I'm happy to give them to anyone who will read them. And so we do a survey. They fill out the survey. If they say they want a book, we send them a book. And so it's just such a great way to let people know in your team that by reading the book, they're making a difference, right? Not me, them. Just by them saying, yes, I'll read the book, then of course there's money being donated on behalf of them. Especially from potential business partners, people who haven't yet joined you, a really great way to have people be curious to read is say, just by you reading this book, you're going to be helping to contribute into the saving of girls from human trafficking and helping to feed them for a month. So, would you be interested in reading this? And then after you read it, I would so love to be able to chat with you about your experience. So here's something really awesome, you guys. Chapter 7, just Chapter 7, it covers every objection that people have. It covers I can't sell. It covers I don't have enough money. It covers, I don't have the time, right? And it's all of 4 pages. I mean, this book takes less than 45 minutes to read. So whenever I am in contact with somebody who has an objection, instead of me trying to chase the objection or object the objection or try to convince them their objection isn't real, we have this concept called listening through objections, where we allow people to keep telling their objection and we just listen and we hear it. When people feel heard, you get a green light. When people feel defended, oh wait, what? It's not a pyramid. What are you talking about? Right? Immediately the walls go up. And so if I get an objection, I say, hey, you know what? I have this book, and in chapter 7 talks all about exactly what you're talking about. And I'm curious, if I gave you the book, would you be open to reading it? And I have never gotten a no on asking people if they would want to read my book. And quite frankly, in the follow-up, you guys, people who I'll meet, even at, you know how we always go to dinner, we sit at the bar because we get to meet people that way. I don't drink alcohol, but I love sitting at the bar. It's the best. So we sit at the bar, and even those types of people that I just meet on the fly, who I have a connection with, we chat with, I give them a book and I follow up with them, they answer, they don't go MIA. I mean, there are those who, you know, I think, oh my gosh, I just made a new best friend, and then I never hear from them again. But for the most part, most of the people who I share a book with answer me, and many of them have actually joined my business. So, it's a really inexpensive way for you to help educate people. Oh, I started saying this earlier. You know, people, it's not hard to get people to fall in love with our products. I mean, our products are amazing. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. I've never seen any network marketing company where your friend gets giddy over your product. Like, I can remember, Richard, when we just joined, I was doing a class at our home with, like, I don't know, 5 women in the neighborhood, and Richard was in the kitchen shuffling around, and he was kind of watching from the background, and I had everything set up, and they're like going crazy over Ningxia and Nitro and Zing. I had this little cocktail bar going, and I had the oils out. And I mean, there was just this, you guys have all experienced it. And Richard and I look at each other, we're like, this has never happened with our shakes in our old company. People did not get giddy over our shakes. That is common in almost every other company out there, where people don't get giddy over the products, right? So we have a huge, huge, huge asset there. So you don't have to convince people to love our products. You also don't have to convince people to love you, the people. They show up because of you to learn, right? You don't necessarily even have to convince people about the company, because it's been around for 25 years. We have seed to seal. We have amazing management, you know, all these great things. But the thing that people get hooked up on is network marketing. And so to make it easy, why not just help educate people about what it is we do? And then, you know, if you put it out there, the full menu, instead of just having a class, if you talk about both the business and the products, if you talk about it in a way that feels authentic to you and good to you, but confidently, then they can leave, they can do their research, and then they know, so that you don't have people, like, how many of you have actually heard of somebody on your team going and joining someone else? And I know that's not at all the Young Living way, but it's happened, right? Because they didn't know there was a business. So you don't want that to happen. You want to just put it out there right up front, both of them. And then if they're like, hey, you know what, I know, like, Carol, I know your story is you didn't want to build a business, and then you fell in love with the products, and it took you a while. So you are the norm. Right. But did your person who introduced you tell you about both? She
just approached me with, would you ever want to do the business? And I said no immediately. And then she sent me a blog of her upline. And that's what opened my mind to the possibility. Right. But unless she had done that, I would have been like, nope, I will never do the business. And I would have probably not even, maybe eventually been on ER, because eventually I would have fallen in love with the products and needed enough for an ER order. But yeah, unless she had asked me that time and then followed up, even though I was like firm with my no, she still followed up, and she was like, hey, you know, I know you said no, but check this out because I think it might interest you. And I was like, all right, I'll read it, right? So I think that this book just gives us another tool, because I think even a lot of business builders probably on this call have some of those objections about network marketing. Even though they're building, there's still that discomfort about, oh, this is a network marketing business, you know? And so being able to hand somebody something that isn't you, like, doing like a song and dance about like network marketing is amazing. You know, if you can just hand them a book that legitimizes it and they can read it, that helps way more than you trying to convince somebody, because that never feels good, trying to convince somebody. But I love the idea of having like a book club for your team to read that, just so that everybody kind of is just on the same page and know that, you know, the proceeds to the book also go to the foundation. But, you know, a lot of teams have been doing book clubs here and there, but I think this would be like a great little summer activity. And I know a lot of you guys are doing the Create Academy, so that might be, I'm not, you know, you could do a business kind of thing with the book club.
Like, you guys, there are so many clues, even with your team in here. So if you haven't yet read the book, when you go through it, you'll find out how much time your team member has. Like, you'll find out so many awesome things that you probably don't know right now. And so, like, even in chapter 6, it's called I Am Superwoman, Hear Me Roar. And I think a lot of times as women, we feel like, you know, that we have, you know, there's this whole idea around shame, right? We all carry things like, hey, I got to tell you guys, back in high school, I was totally not into school. I was very social. I was a big partier. All of the things in my life have served me to bring me to where I am right now. And so in this chapter, what a woman gets to do is they get to actually dive into them and own their greatness and own the qualities about them that maybe in the past seemed like something bad, but actually in network marketing are going to serve them so well. And so it, like, I think what happens when you grab a hold of this is you get to lift your women friends up. You get to celebrate and champion them, and they feel good about themselves. And so how amazing is that? So a book club is really great. It's funny, I was asked to be on a call with another company. These women had just hit the highest rank in their company, and they had done a book club. And so I assumed that they were using this with all of their potential business partners. And so we had this long conversation, and I was sharing around ideas on how to share the book and, you know, questions to ask their potential business partners. And they were like, wait, oh my gosh, we never even thought of using this with potential business partners. We're just using it with our team. So what I want you guys to know clearly is this is a very simple, easy tool. Number one, for your team members, especially if you have a lot of people joining you who are just joining to use products. Oh my gosh, you already have half the challenge checked off because they're ordering products already. So that's amazing. So like, you could use this and have a book club with a lot of people in your team who were like, Carol, I'll never do the business. And then all of a sudden they read and they're like, I'm in. So like, I would definitely encourage you guys during the summer right now, when you might be thinking, oh geez, you know, everybody's kind of quiet and shut down. No better time for people to read a book than in the summer, right? So that's one thing. And then also, like, I love challenging people, you know, on that thing that I did, the 25 days of, I changed the name a couple times. I think it was 25 days of expansion is where we ended. But one of the challenges, we had a challenge every day for 25 days, was that they were going to have 25 books and they were going to actually hand these out. So what this can do for you guys, if you're in a state of paralysis, if you're not moving forward in your business, if you're nervous to invite, if you're like not out there talking to people, is this, by having it in your bag, it's like a little bit of it's like a little personal prodder. It's like, okay, I still have the book in my bag. Who could I strike up a conversation with, ask them a bunch of questions, see if they'd be willing to read a book, get their information, and start, you know, building this relationship with them. Now, you can do whatever you want. You can add a little sachet of sample in here. You know, that's up to you guys. But it's just another way right now as we roll into summer for you to have a helpful kind of like, keep me going. Let's keep going, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but like the momentum in our group is really going right now. So it's like, okay, how do you keep that momentum going right now in the summer?
Yeah. And I think too, like my journey through this network marketing thing, like when I started, I said no, but I started doing the business, but I still was like, I'm never going to talk about the business. Like, we were trained, like, initially, like, never talk about the business, just get everybody to be a product user, let them fall in love with the oils, and they'll organically start. And I was like, sounds good to me. Then I never have to talk about the business. And then only people that like really want to do the business will start. But what I found and what I really wish I would have done earlier is I lost so many people that could have been business people in the beginning. And there are people now that are like, I wish you would have said something, because now it's like 5 years later. And I'm like, you can still do it. But it was like, you know, if they had started when had started, we would have all ran together. So I've had to do a lot of personal development and work on myself to be able to claim network marketing as like a legit business model for me, and to be proud of it and to feel comfortable sharing about it. But like this book and like GoPro and like all those other like network marketing kind of resources that we have really helped me see how I can share now. So when I have a new interested person, I talk about the business. I tell them like I said no, and but I fell in love with the products, and thank God that my enroller sent me a blog post and I was curious, because that helped me go on this trajectory that helped me quit my jobs, and my husband was able to quit his jobs, and we paid off $60,000 worth of debt, and like yada yada yada. And so like I tell them like this business model is amazing, and so use the products, but know that there's a business opportunity here for you also. And that's something that I would have never felt comfortable doing early on, but being able to ask them, hey, would you read this book if I gave it to you? It's about the 4-year career, And I think so many women, I've just been talking to a lot of people lately who work for themselves or are in a job, and it's like they're realizing they're going to have to work till they die at this job, They might have a little bit of a retirement plan or something, but like they're going to have to work until they die at the job that they have, which is not joy-filling. It's not rewarding. And so I think now more than ever, especially because I'm turning 50, so like my friends are all in that phase of like kind of like looking back at your life and seeing where you are, like seeing like, okay, like where I want to make the rest of my life the best. But most of my friends that aren't doing this business are like, crap, like what does that mean, because this is not joy filling. And so it is a disservice to not share about this business with people, because we have the key that can unlock so much for them, whether it's just $500 a month or $2,000 a month or $100,000 a month, right? Like it's the opportunity is open for anybody to grab onto, and there's no special skill set that you have to have. So I think it's so important to not only talk about the product, but also share about the business part of it too. Did I just mute Kimmy? I just muted you.
I'm still here, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So somebody asked a question here, and you guys, I think too, I mean, even if you came in as just loving the products, right? Like if you think about it, it's so funny the stories we make up about the model. Like the person you're talking to, they might not have any energy around it. But if you think about it, our health, our well-being is equally important with the products that Young Living offers, as is our financial health, our financial well-being, because I got to tell you, I've been on the dark side of finances, and without money, you can't do the things that good people can do good things with, right? Like more money allows you to do more good in the world. And so just even being able to provide for your own family, whether it be because you have enough income, like with my daughter, that I'm present and able to be with her and be able to celebrate the times with her, right? Versus busy at my office and then totally caught up in what I'm doing and not present for her. So it's like both sides of the coin are so valuable for people. And if we're doing our job correctly, all we're doing is saying, hey, here's a menu. Do you want to read it? Awesome. Here's this side. There's appetizers. Here's this side. There's dessert. So appetizers could be product. Appetizers could be business. Dessert could be product. Dessert could be business. And then your job is done. Their job is to decide themselves. So them deciding no about the business has nothing to do with us, but we totally internalize it and take it personally sometimes. And really, that's not our job. Our job is just to say, would you like to look? Are you interested? And, can we support you? Like, I think too, when you think about coming from a place of serving people and helping them, right? I'm here to help you. I don't know if this is a help for you, but I have something that could help you. And when we have that vision as we come to the conversation versus all of this energy around like, I don't want to talk about the business, right? Like it flows. So it might feel really foreign to you. It might feel like speaking another language. And I got to tell you that once you do it once, you realize, okay, I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. And oh my gosh, that person said they'd want to join my business. That doesn't happen every time. But a lot of times when people take that risk and they go for it and they offer the full menu, they are very pleasantly surprised at what comes back. So somebody asked a question. That was a long way to get to your question, Colette, around if I have an example or a blurb about how to describe the book for a non-Young Living person on would they want to look at the business. Let's see. She's struggling to figure out how to approach that successfully. So, well, first and foremost, the nice thing about the book, you guys, is the color. So if it's people that you know, then you're going to have a conversation. But if it's people you don't know, just the color alone, I've had a lot of people say to me, hey, what is that book? And they really are drawn to the design. So that was intentional to create a conversation, right? But so for someone you could just ask them a question. Hey, I'm not sure if you'd be interested. I pretty much start out all of my sentences that way of, I'm not sure if you'd be interested. I'm not apologetic. I'm not like, oh, geez, I don't want to bug you, but it's just like saying, hey, you know what? I'm not sure if you'd be interested, but I've got this book. It's called The 4-Year Career. Isn't that a cool title? The 4-Year Career. So like if you know what your friend already does, and like Carol was saying, it's not even a 40-year career. Sometimes it's like a 60, 70-year career. If you know what they do, you could say, I know your career, it's like a 20-year career. Are you jazzed at the idea of your career for the next 20, 30 years? How would you feel if you knew that over a 4-year time period, by just doing a little bit of something on the side of your 20-year career, that you could start to build an asset for yourself? Would that be interesting for you? And they might not know what an asset is. So if they don't know what an asset is, you could use different language. I don't give scripts, but that's like an idea, right? That's a conversation starter. So you have to think of what's interesting to your friend before you can offer them the book in a way that they will be interested to read it. So Colette, what I would do if I were you is, let's say you have 10 friends that you want to offer to read the book that aren't in Young Living, that you would love to share this business model concept with, right? You could just write down a bunch of questions about them. Like, okay, what do they do for work? How big is their family? If you happen to know, are they financially struggling or stable? Where do they like to go on trips? Like, what are their hot buttons is what I call them, right? And then from there, once you have 1 or 2 hot buttons, it's like, hey, Dana, listen, you know what? My girlfriend shared this book with me called The 4-Year Career for Women, and I really loved it. I particularly loved chapter whatever. And so have something in the book that you can say to them, it really made me think about you and ... right? And so I'm curious, it's like a 45-minute read. Would you be interested in reading it? You can either give them the book or you could lend them the book and get it back. You could do either one. And so that's how I would start that conversation. Does that feel good for you, Colette, and authentic? It's all about you being you. It's not about you trying to be me. It's not about you trying to be Carol. It's about you doing what feels good for you. But more importantly, you guys, it's about doing what feels good for your friend, right? So that you don't show up being like this alien person trying to be somebody you're not, hoping they're going to get excited about what you're offering. It's just like, you could even say to them, Colette, you know what? I'm really nervous. Like I feel really awkward and anxious asking you if you want to read the book, but I have this great book and I thought about you and I'm curious, would you be interested in reading it? You just,
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you. Because so long, I've only been really leading with product, and I'm just about to leave my full-time job to do Young Living full-time.
woo!
And I just, yes, scary, but good, but a good thing. And I know, like, I have a lot of coworkers that I feel like if I led more with the business, which I haven't up to this point, I feel like I could really spark something with them because that's what sparked me. But I was also a product user for 7 months before I even thought about maybe doing the business. And so I'm trying to, there's a very specific demographic I think I would try to approach with this book.
Cool. Don't prejudge and think it's only for a specific demographic. You know, the truth is, guys, the opportunity is for everybody. They might not want it, but to share the full menu to everyone is like a gift. You're offering people a gift when you show up and say, I'm not going to decide for you. You know what? You may not have any interest. I had no interest for 7 months. I'm now quitting my job. So I'm curious, would you be interested in just reading this book? It's super quick. And then you know what? I would love to have a conversation with you about blah, 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 right? So that's why it really pays you guys to do a book club with your team so you actually know what's in here. I would never advise you to just start throwing this out to people hoping they come back all excited. Like, like here's one of the things I think we take for granted. I'm actually going to put a presentation together on this around the amount of income, the quality of income we earn here in Young Living is insane for the amount of work that we actually put in. Even at Royal Crown Diamond, yes, I know you are working round the clock. I know that at Diamond, you're working very hard, but I got to tell you, for the amount of income, like the schooling, the education, the time, and then the job, let's say making partner as an attorney, right? You are never home. So we are so lucky. And so many times we just decide, like, we kind of go unintentionally through hoping that things work. So I'm going to just throw out this last thing as before we hop off. I hope it's not too bold and too much, Carol, but like, I'm going to throw out to you guys that you own your business like a professional network marketer, because that's what we all are. You know, we are professional network marketers, and we have the ability to really do our like Young Living a service, to do our profession a service by showing up and being proud of who we are, being proud of what we have to offer people. Like, we have a better way, right? You're all on this call on a, I don't even know what day it is. Is it Tuesday? You're all on this call on a Tuesday. You're not here because you're just dabbling. You're here because you want to do something great in your life for you and your family and for those who you care about, right? So I'm just going to put out there, like, own it. And how do you own it? Well, you take it seriously, and you actually, like, you take on the things that are scary and challenging for you, and you just be willing to have, you know, take a little step, a little step, a little step. And soon enough, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm offering the full menu no matter what. So that's all I got to say.
Yay! We had one question. Elle had her hand up, but I don't see it anymore, so maybe she took her hand down. But Anna had asked if it was going to be available in Spanish, and then Allison had asked, what's the proper way to share about the proceeds? Is it all proceeds, or a portion of the proceeds go to the foundation?
It's a portion of the proceeds. Let me see. It's for every basically we donate $100 for every girl. So I think it's like every, I don't have a little write up on it. I think it's in the back of the book. It tells you exactly what it is.
Okay.
I'm sorry, because I have a generic version too, and the proceeds from that go somewhere else, so I get them all mixed up.
Okay. No worries.
But anyway, so it's basically like for 100 books, 100 books read supports one woman. So that's $100, I think, something like that. Okay. And then there was another question on what was it?
Is it going to be in Spanish, available in Spanish?
Yeah, we started that. What we need in order to have Spanish is we we need stories, like 10 really great Spanish leaders. So if you guys have Spanish women.
We've got a humongous Spanish team. We've just had another diamond hit. So Anne will get in touch with you.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
All right, you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you sharing your time and your knowledge with our team. I'm going to post the replay link of this probably tomorrow. And if any of the team members on my team have questions for Kimmie, just comment on the post and then I'll get the questions to her, or I'll just put you in our business group and you can answer them.
Perfect.
All right.
Put a little link right here in the chat where you can go get the book.
Cool.
On Bliss Business website. So can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. And Carol, I'll see you on in a minute.
Yeah. Now I get to talk to her team. All right. Thanks.
You're all welcome to come and listen to her share on my Zoom station as well. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.